We've talked so much over this past week about the destruction and the impacts that we have seen here in western North Carolina. Or you can just use a blanket and put it over top of your windshield. Look at how much cleaner that is underneath compared to all this mess. Cold air actually sinks the same way that heat rises. So we can get a lot of colder air that's bunched down here on the ground versus what we're measuring here at air temperature. I found a couple of huge beasts here off of the side of this local business that we're standing by right now. It gets waxy and becomes hydrophobic. That means it repels water. It's kind of like your skin on a hot day. If you're sweating too much, you're close to a heat stroke, your skin gets clammy. It doesn't take in moisture anymore. Wow. 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 I'm practicing looking at it.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was amazed, truly. Fun fact, everybody, I actually wanted to be a geologist before I found meteorology. So this is honestly so sick. This is the Jolly Rancher jerk.
The authentic flavor bursts in your mouth.
No, literally. It's sweet, it's barbecuey, it's a little tangy too. You see the Jolly Rancher? That is right, and I have a new special guest here with me, Pillow Pet Smokey. He's a little sleepy, but he does say go Vols. But we're going to continue to talk about how you can get your own Pillow Pet Smokey and all the other offerings they got at the Vols shop in just a couple minutes.
And I'm running for my life right now. You see they're trying to tie me up. The food is digested. I'm running for my life. But I'll give this in your forecast in just a little bit. We'll be right back.
Looking particularly at Claiborne County, I did want to share that thankfully right now they're seeing much calmer conditions. Some light to moderate rain that's moving around much of the area. Things are not quite as intense in this part of East Tennessee as they were just a bit before. But we take it into the rest of the area. We're now seeing that all of those stronger storms are pushing further down south into the valley. So a lot of our action up until this point has been north of I-40 and I-81. That's now shifting down south, passing through the valley. So parts of Blount, Loudoun, Ray, Meigs counties are seeing more of that rainfall. And we're going to continue to see that push further down towards the southeast as these storms continue through. Once these storms move on out, we get that break, that low in activity that is not as nice as it seems, because that can help refuel and rebuild the instability, especially if we see that sun at times, to then make those evening and nighttime storms more intense. So that's what we have the opportunity of seeing with those storms pushing on through. As we get into the nighttime, we're going to keep looking at whether we see that intensity. But once this is all over, don't worry, things are going to calm down heading into Mother's Day weekend. I'm going to have more of your forecast. We're going to have more coverage and all that coming up after the break. Stay with us. Yeah, so we do have some of that moisture that's going to be coming into our area. Essentially what we see is Beryl getting wrapped into the rest of the U.S.'s weather pattern. So it comes in, makes that impact there in Texas, and then continues to swing its way around into the rest of the country. Now you're taking a look at the infrared satellite radar. You can see it's getting very close to the coastline at this point, but still making its move to the Gulf of Mexico, still at tropical storm strength. Now taking over to the satellite radar, you can see some of the rainfall that's already hitting the Brownsville area, and some of those outer bands just really starting to push up against the coastline. Now, the reason that it's going to be able to hit that Category 1 strength is because we have warmer waters that are going to be right along the coastline compared to once you're kind of out at sea. So that warmer water is going to be able to help it re-intensify and gain that strength. And as you can see, they're properly prepared for it. Hurricane watch, a warning, tropical storm warning, and a watch as you look up and down the entire coastline from Brownsville all the way up to Galveston and beyond, reaching Louisiana as well. So what we're going to see from this point forward is this system, is Beryl, continuing to move its way towards the coastline, re-intensifying, making that Cat 1 as it's hitting its landfall. And as it comes across and hits the Houston area, as you can see, it makes that curve towards the northeast and getting towards the rest of the country. We here in East Tennessee are not going to see direct impacts from Beryl, but places like Memphis will. They're going to be a lot closer to that direct track. So you can see all of the moisture that is developing along the system and how a lot more of that is moving off towards the northeast in our direction. Beryl is going to do the exact same thing. So what we're going to see from this point is it's going to make its way right along the coastline, having those impacts later tonight and into your Monday. And then we see this stationary front that we've been interacting with sort of join up with Beryl, and they all travel together. So by Monday afternoon, that's where we see our first opportunity for those couple of showers. We see greater chances in the deep south as Beryl makes its way towards Arkansas. And then during the early hours of Tuesday morning, that's when areas like Memphis and western Tennessee are able to get some more of that rainfall. Warm front at that point will have already passed us, but we're still going to have our spotty shower opportunity because Beryl's also going to bring a lot of moisture into the area before it moves off in towards the rest of the northern parts of the country. I'll take it back out to show you what's called our precipitable water. It's essentially water that we can make some rainfall out of, and you can see this huge plume of moisture that is Tropical Storm Beryl. And what we can do is the same thing. Watch this moisture go from Texas and the Gulf all the way across the country, and as we hit about Tuesday, while it's putting that rainfall rainfall in western Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Illinois, we're able to get the rest of that moisture that pushes behind that warm front, but ahead of the cold front that it develops as it moves around the country. So it continues to pass off, and then that cold front passes, and you see we get a little pocket of drier air as we get towards your Thursday. That's what's going to make things just a little bit more comfortable. But by that point, we're also going to start to see some higher temperatures as well. So when you look at your full 7-day forecast, you see rain chances decline as we get towards your Thursday and your Friday, but it also gets warmer. Well, that just kind of comes with the drop of humidity. We're able to take on a bit more of that heat. So Sam, it's looking like a pretty good week. So the first step, of course, is that we have to get our gear, and that's why we're headed to Knoxville Adventure Collective. They're going to help get us set up with everything that we need.
Looks so cool in here.
There, we got our kayak,
1, 2, 3.
paddles, life jackets, and a dry bag.
Yeah.
Then they taught us how to properly strap the kayak to the car. We were on our way pretty quickly. Now we've got our gear, all we gotta do is get our supplies, and then we're headed over to the river. The trip there is about 2 hours, which is an easy ride that's mostly on I-40. We made it, y'all, and look at how gorgeous this view is right here. As we arrived, we happened to catch one of the many guided tours on their way back in. We tuned into a local history lesson told by Tara Hunt, co-owner of Kayaking Adventures of Tennessee. All right, one last check to make sure we got everything before we get out onto the water. Whoa, we've got bug spray, we've got sunscreen, we got food for energy, and of course, you gotta stay hydrated with some water as well, and your life jackets. One more important thing that Tara recommended was closed-toed shoes. Due to the flooding, leftover metals or debris may be along the riverbed, so protecting your feet is paramount.
Nice.
And we're off. The journey is 2 miles each way, totaling 2 hours of kayaking. You'll see all sorts of nature and wildlife on your way, from the water, the forest, and the skies. It's a unique angle compared to what you usually see on a hike.
I did it the first time last week, and I was surprised at how fast I was there. You'll hear the waterfall about 7 or 8 minutes before you see it.
Okay, that is very comforting. Thank you.
Oh, I hear it. It's getting so loud. Wait, there it is.
We made it! Burgess Falls right in front of me. She's gorgeous.
Hey, Queen.
You're looking up to Burgess Falls, otherwise known as the Queen of the South. We docked for a while and had lunch on the nearby landing. It's a beautiful view before we made our way back.
I just feel like all of us were blindsided and hit out of nowhere with how bad it was.
You can hear people screaming, "Help! Help!"
Helene, she wiped out Western North Carolina.
We've seen the catastrophic damage that's befallen Western North Carolina, but how did we get here? Well, it was a double whammy. As Helene was forming in the tropics, North Carolina was already getting hit with days-long rainfall from an incoming cold front. Then, as Helene started to make its impact and torrential rain spread across the southeast, there was nowhere left for that water to go. And as unlikely as it all seems, most of the biggest flood events that have happened in Western North Carolina happened exactly like this. The Great Flood of 1916 came from 2 formerly major hurricanes hitting within a week of each other. In September of 2004, tropical storms Francis and Ivan also arrived within a week of each other. And most recently, in August 2021, Tropical Storm Fred also came on the tail end of a separate storm system. The main difference this time is that Helene dropped significantly more rainfall, ranging from 10 to 30 inches.
Those incidents have been horrific, but they've been isolated to certain areas of the region. This is just, you just almost can't get your head around it. It's so vast and so, every person that you talk to has been touched by this.
And as the region bands together to rebuild, the focus must shift. Getting back to normal invites the chance of this happening again. Building to combat flood risk from all fronts will become necessary as these events are coming more often.
We'll never forget it. We'll never be the same, but we will move on.
Out of Asheville, I'm Tevian Whitehurst.
I mean, you are the weather word here.
Well, just about everybody gives me a lot of good comments, just about everybody I talk to, and everybody says I'm one of the best.
Over a year after his passing in 2022, local weather legend Steve Norris is getting recognition in Knoxville, Tennessee. A rainy Friday morning cleared out just in time for the dedication ceremony, where a plaque was placed on his former workspace in downtown Knoxville. It marks his life as a friend, community member, and meteorologist for area radio stations and newspapers, including here at WBIR. He often called in to inform fellow legend Margie Eisen on the skies in the plateau. After the dedication and the reveal of the new plaque in his honor, I was chatting with people who attended, friends and family, and it became clear that everybody in Knoxville and Cumberland County, they knew Steve, they loved Steve, they have some kind of story that really shows his tenacity as a person, but most importantly, they relied on Steve to keep them safe during those scary times.
I'm a big chicken when it comes to bad weather. I would call him from my house late night and go, "Are we all going to die?" He said, "No, Tony, it's going to go around us, it's going to go over, it's not that bad." He was my assurance, along with everybody else's.
Tony Perry was Steve's radio host from WAEW Radio and a good friend all these years later. He was the one who answered the phone when a 17-year-old Steve called into the station offering a forecast for the incoming storms. This wasn't the first time Steve made life work in his favor. At first glance, some may call him disabled, but it's clear he never thought that way himself.